Good afternoon. I think it's afternoon almost everywhere that people might be watching this now, except for outside of the US. I am Eric Schumacher Rasmussen, the editor and VP of Streaming Media Magazine. And I'm also the conference chair for all of our streaming media conferences, which for the last 2 years has been our virtual Streaming Media Connect events. This is our 7th Streaming Media Connect. It probably won't be our last virtual event, but we do have the real thing in the works for May 24th and 25th. We are planning Streaming Media East to not return to Boston. It'll be our first time in Boston, but we will be in Boston. Those dates, the program isn't quite online yet, but the website is streamingmedia.com/East. You can register now. The workshops for Streaming Media University are up online. Those will be happening on May 23rd. And then on May 23rd, we will also have the Content Delivery Summit. We'll be returning to meet space, as those crazy kids like to say. But in the meantime, here we are with, once again, a great virtual event we've had since yesterday morning. We're in the middle of it. It runs until Friday, when we'll wrap things up with the best streaming gear and how to use it workshop. If you can't make it to some of the live presentations, panels, and workshops, you can watch them on demand later on. You'll receive a link that'll let you know where those on-demand videos go up when they are available. Just for being here, you're entered into a random drawing to win an Amazon gift card. Stick around till the end, though. Winners must be present to win, and we will announce your name at the end of this presentation, and then you'll receive an email from our staff early next week letting you know how to redeem the gift card if you won. I'd like to thank our diamond sponsors, BirdDog and Harmonic, for making this entire week possible, and we've got a couple of brief video messages from them right now. Thanks again to Harmonic and BirdDog for sponsoring the whole week. A couple of housekeeping notes before we jump into a presentation from this session's sponsor, that's IdeaNova. If you have questions for our presenter, please put them in the Q&A tab at the bottom of the screen, bottom of your Zoom window, and I will forward them or relay them to Uri after his presentation. Also, we do have live transcripts turned on. If you are seeing them and want to turn them off, go to live transcript at the bottom of your Zoom window, click on it, and then click on disable transcript, and that will get rid of them. So we are ready to roll here. We have been spending the last 15, 20 minutes working out our own distributed workflow, remote production workflow. And I'd like to welcome Uri Siska from IdeaNova, who's going to talk about building a secure streaming platform. Uri, how are you today? Why don't you turn your camera and mic on?
Hey, good. Thank you for having me, Eric.
You bet. Is it as cold down there in Illinois as it is up here in Wisconsin? It's pretty rare I've got a fellow Midwesterner on the screen with me.
It is cold here, but it's actually warmer than in the past few days. Yeah. We have around 37 degrees here.
Oh, so geez, it's really practically nice. Spring. What are you talking about?
Yes. Yeah, it is very spring-like here.
Very good. And it's still light out and will be for at least another hour, which lets us know spring is on the way. So, as I said, you're going to be talking about IdeaNova and the platforms that you've built, and more in general about how to build a secure streaming platform. I'm going to turn my camera and mic off, and I'll be, as I said, we've got a distributed production workflow going on here. I'll be playing some videos for Uri as he asked for them. But for now, I will say to you, take it away.
Sounds good. Thanks, Eric. Let me screen share here and let me guys know if you see it.
Yep, we can see your screen.
All right, great. Well, thanks for having me, and thanks Streaming Media for hosting this platform. My name is Juraj Siska. I started IdeaNova about 15 years ago, and over the 15 years, we developed a lot of products, a lot of functionality, and a lot of customers. We pride ourselves for doing more for less. Our goal is to build beautiful applications that are not only easy to use and fun to use, but also secure. So in this session, I'll talk about building secure platforms, and I'll provide an overview of our products as well and how we embedded security into it. All right. So over our 15 years of history, we have developed a lot of systems deployed to a lot of customers. We've been recognized for some of these products and functionality that deliver to our customers by aviation companies. So some of these awards are from Apex and Crystal Cabin, which are aviation companies. We do a lot of our distribution of software delivery to airlines and aviation companies. So some of these Apex and Crystal Cabins in recognition of those efforts. We've been awarded actually with Reader's Choice Awards from Streaming Media. As a matter of fact, last year we were runner-up for our in-show product, which is our data analytics and reporting product. So when we talk about security, we always have a concept of layered security in mind. There is no single security control that you can have that will satisfy all the needs and all the potential vulnerabilities that your software or platform might have. So we are using these 5 layers of security. Data classification is the first layer. Basically, we analyze our data, the media that we are distributing, and trying to figure out which of these content files require higher level controls. For example, user-generated content is likely to require less controls to be in place than premium content from Hollywood studios. You know, your high-definition HDR content is obviously going to require a lot more controls in place than user-generated content, goal of which is to be distributed across as many eyeballs as possible. So controls that we use in this particular layer of security is DRM. We are known for being able to build DRM solutions using Widevine, PlayReady, FairPlay. We also engage with using visible and forensic watermarking. In the early days of our company, we use more proprietary technologies, like, for example, Marlin. Widevine Classic was another technology that was not standardized. As we know today, some of these 3 largest DRM technologies from Google, Microsoft, and Apple are standardized using common encryption. So things got simpler from that perspective. Second layer is data security. Data security is here we use a lot of symmetric and asymmetric encryption, transport layer encryption. We've been replacing SSL encryption with TLS 1.2 and 1.3 algorithms. As the requirements for encryption increase, so do the controls. Recently, we engaged in using hardware encryption using TPM and SGX, or on a cloud side using HSM. The third layer is application security. Here we are using things like user management platforms such as LDAP or two-factor authentication on a protection of the code and the software itself. We use tamper-proofing and geofencing. The fourth layer is physical security. Obviously, different security goals in place for cloud-based software, cloud-based platform versus autonomous software, such as the software that we distribute to airlines. And the last but not least is a human layer. We engage things like HR background checks, references. We are one of the few companies in this space that leverage entirely US-based workforce. So all of our software is built here in the Chicago area. And this is based on requirements from some of our customers who express needs that these kind of controls need to be in place. All right, so the next slide talks about our products and how these controls are used across our products. So over these 15 years, we built various software suites that are in essence divided between content preparation and content playback. So on the content preparation side, we have tools such as in-play packager and key manager, goal of which is to package, encrypt, and encode content. We built an in-play CMS system. We actually enhanced in-play CMS system to be fully autonomous and fully automated to minimize human innovation and therefore possibility of human error. So really, with our in-play CMS, the only manual operation that we perform right now is the final check, where we use this platform called Grid Test that allows us to do the final quality assurance on multiple files at the same time. We have in-show data analytics, which is a tool that we were the runner-up last year for. The goal of which is to collect logs, analyze logs, and provide dashboards and reports that are useful both for technical people as well as for business analytics and marketers. We built a platform called InTouch that is a secure web conferencing tool that is very easy to use, but it has some nice and neat features that I'll talk about later. In Concert, which is a web-based event viewing software, and I'll talk about it later. And Eric and I will share with you some videos that will hopefully bring it home more. We have IPTV platform called InPlay Live, and on the playback side, we have our license servers. This is probably the most popular product that we have that is using Widevine, FairPlay, and PlayReady DRM. These license servers are hosted both in a cloud as well as autonomously on aircrafts, let's say, or on a data center of a particular customer. We have done a lot of work on our license servers in order to sustain a high level of throughput, but at the same time require very little minimal resources to run. For example, some of our license servers require only 48 meg of memory. We have players. This is our 6th generation of players that we built over the years. They're very advanced. They run across multiple platforms, and I have a slide that covers some of the platforms that the players have been deployed on. Recently, we built InPlay Bash, which is basically a social platform that allows people to engage in watching the content, but at the same time, they can socialize with each other. They can text each other, peer-to-peer video conference, web conference, or do watch parties, basically synchronously watch a piece of content. We have a payment platform that processes all major credit cards, engages a lot of synchronous and asynchronous encryption, and it's used both for web platform as well as on a native Android and iOS SDKs. We have a captive portal and portal, the goal of which is to discover the content, make the discovery and playback of the content as easy as possible. As a matter of fact, we have a rule here that we want to minimize the number of clicks that it takes to discover and play content. So ideally, it takes about one click to be able to discover and see the content. All of our software is either cloud-based, therefore in Play Cloud platform, or it is autonomously hosted in SDK. It's a fully customizable white label solution for all of these components, really even including the InTouch platform, which is the web conference tool. So on this slide, we have a screenshot of our player. And this particular screenshot was taken using our web player. Here you can see scene seek functionality on the bottom, which is more advanced than some of the other platforms that you see out there. So you can see the current scene as well as the scenes before and after. We have accessibility features such as multi-language audio, subtitles, closed captioning, audio descriptive language. We have voiceover functionality. A bunch of customizable controls here on the right side. The players have been deployed on many platforms, as I mentioned earlier. In this particular slide, we have, for example, on the web, the web player has been deployed on all major OSs using Windows, iOS, on Linux, using all major browsers, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Edge. On a mobile side, we have SDKs that have been deployed on Android and iOS. We have some sample apps that you're welcome to inspect on Google Play Store or Apple Play Store. And we also have deployments on TV, Android TV, Apple TV, Tizen, as well as we have a virtual reality player that is using a framework called Unity that currently it's deployed on Oculus, but because of the Unity framework, it can be deployed across multiple virtual platforms. On the Apple TV side, we were one of the first companies that deployed applications or players on Apple TV. As a matter of fact, interesting story, Apple had to ship these devices, these new generations of Apple TVs to us before they were generally available. So it was very challenging to be able to deploy application, but at the same time, very rewarding to be the first one deploying applications to this new platform. Here is a screenshot of our VWatch functionality, which allows people to socialize with each other while they are watching content. Here we can see two people talking via text chat. There is an opportunity or option for them to engage peer-to-peer video conferencing as well as web conferencing, and the content is watched at the same time. This is a slide that talks about our in-show, which is our data analytics and logging functionality. It consists of three main components: the log collector, log analyzer, and then reporting and dashboard functionality. All these three components can be interchanged. So, for example, if the customer has analytics tool that they would like to use, then they can use the remaining components from in-show. The same thing about dashboards. If they have their own dashboards and reports already, then they can just use the data produced by in-show. It's very modular, just like the rest of our products, and engages a lot of security controls that I mentioned earlier, such as encryption, optional encryption, and data compression as well. This is a screenshot of our InTouch platform. We built InTouch about 2 or 3 years ago, based on the new demand for web conferencing. We think that InTouch has some unique and advanced features. One of them is ability to be deployed autonomously. We had a customer that required this functionality just because they had their own private cloud. They wanted to be able to conduct web meetings, but only under conditions that are fully under their own control. So we were able to deploy InTouch in their own private cloud. In addition to that autonomous deployment option, InTouch is able to engage multiple cameras at the same time. Why did we build this? Just because we think that the current web meetings are only a remote approximation of in-person meetings. If you were to be in a meeting in person, you obviously are free to look around the room, focus your attention on the presenter, focus your attention on the object that is being presented or whiteboard, while this is not always possible with web meetings. So with InTouch, you can engage multiple cameras, let's say one camera focused on the audience, the other camera focused on the presenter, and so on. So we think that it's more intermediate, it provides more immediate and immersive experience for being in a meeting, in a remote meeting. It's very quick and easy to use. Again, it takes only one click of a button to launch a web meeting in a browser. It supports all major browsers. We work with several vendors to make this experience even more easy to use. Soon we'll be releasing an announcement about our partnership with a company called Jabra, which makes a lot of web cameras. So we're pretty excited about that. It is fully customizable. In this particular picture, you can see that you can customize the logo, you can customize the background. The menu can be customized as well as the workflow. One particular scenario that we built for as per requirement from our customer is to be able to start a web meeting as a chat, textual chat. This is for a particular customer that required this feature in order to engage with anonymous users that required therapy sessions, and it appears to be in those situations they are not comfortable with revealing their face until they establish some sort of rapport with their counselor. And that's why we build the textual functionality as the first step in the workflow. So once they establish some relationship and agreed with each other to reveal their faces, then they were able to start in a full-fledged web meeting. Another feature that we built into this web meeting is the ability to play a trivia game. In case if you are still waiting for a conference call to start, or if you're just bored through the meeting, you can engage with this trivia. So if you the last component I want to talk about is our InConcert platform. InConcert is a event viewing platform that allows multiple cameras to be engaged at the same time. So similar to InTouch, where in InTouch the presenter engages multiple cameras. Here with InConcert, it's the viewer that can select the camera that best fits their needs. So on the right side, you see the tiles that the user can select, and at the same time they can engage in text chats and communicate with each other via text in this particular case about a concert. And I think that's it from the slide deck. So Eric, if you can move to the pre-recorded videos, let's see how this is. So I'll stop screen sharing, I guess. All right, so what we see here is, I believe that you can see that as well. So on the right side, there are the tiles. I'm switching between the tiles. So now I have an overview view of the DJ's mixing table. And this is the front view of that. You can see briefly here the scene seek. again, this platform was this particular video was recorded using a company here in Chicago. That's a professional lighting and audio company called RK Lighting. They are obviously specializing on delivering videos like this. But recently, we actually enhanced this Encounter platform by allowing users to generate this video. So we added the production facility, production software that runs in a browser. And the second video that Eric is going to show you is an example of that. So in this particular video, we see a video game, hockey game. And as you can see, as the hockey game moves from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, I'll switch the tile and to the camera that is closer to where the game is happening. And you have a better view of the game. So as a parent, if you are watching a recorded game, I'm sure that you've seen some of this user-generated content. It's not very reflective of where the game is being played. So if you are, let's say, a parent of a forward, you probably want to focus more on the offensive side of the field. Thank you, Eric. That's all from my end.
Now I forgot to unmute. Very good. Thank you so much. It's really amazing to see all the things that IdeaNova has been up to. I've had some questions come to my mind as I was watching your demos. When you and I met last week or 2 weeks ago, we used your platform to do so. And so I can say that it was certainly as easy to use from an end user standpoint as you say it is. And the video looked great. It worked really well. I guess when people are looking at IdeaNova compared to other companies in your space, what would you say differentiates you from your competitors?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So it is, I believe it is the fact that our software does run not only in a cloud, in a cloud space, but also all of our components that I shared with you here can be run autonomously. So if customer is interested in deploying our players or our licensed servers, they can use our SDKs and deploy it in their own data centers, in their own piece of hardware that might be totally disconnected from the internet. So just because we've done a lot of work in aviation space, we had to retune and tweak all of these components to be able to sustain themselves in a fully autonomous, disconnected space.
Okay. You talked a lot at the beginning of the presentation about security, and it was really fascinating to see you walk through the different levels of security, even to, and I've never seen another company talk about this, but even talking about, your staff and, when you're working with highly sensitive material, highly sensitive content and highly sensitive data, all of those things come into play from, DRM and encryption to the people whose hands are touching the buttons that are moving those things along. But is there sort of one overarching rule that people need to keep in mind when building a secure streaming platform?
I think that one overarching rule would be to adjust the controls to the quality of the content. Different controls need to be used for user-generated content versus content that requires higher level of protection. So your premium early window HDR content will probably need a lot more security controls in place than user-generated content, goal of which is to be disseminated across as many eyeballs as possible.
Right. It's exactly, and it's kind of funny how often the answer to so many of our burning questions in the streaming industry, like how low does your latency need to be, or how much security do you need to have, comes back to, it depends. It depends on the business use case. It depends on the end goal. And it's no different with security. I guess my last question would be, we've seen a lot of technological advancements, particularly in the last couple of years. Which are the ones that have most directly impacted your business and your ability to achieve what your customers are looking for?
I think that In the last couple of years, we see a lot of utilization for WebRTC
Mhm.
and for just mainly this kind of work that we do right now. Ability to interact with each other in near real time or real time, and I believe that we are using this technology, and we're going to continue using this technology to advance the more kind of immediate reaction of each other's and kind of more engaging experience that we have while we are conducting this meeting remotely. I was pleasantly surprised to see that you guys are going to have an in-person meeting in May. But I think these web meetings are here to stay, and will be less in this kind of a hybrid environment for a while, maybe forever, really, just
Right.
because we realize that there is a platform and there is another method of communicating. So I think the WebRTC is going to be here to stay as well.
Exactly. As I said in my introduction, even though we're getting back to in-person meetings, or at least that's our plan, this will likely not be our last virtual event. And we're talking about hybrid events as well, as of course is any events planner, any conference business, any events business in the world right now, because the world has changed so significantly that the new normal is going to include virtual events or virtual versions of in-person events. So it's great to see all the things that IdeaNova is doing to facilitate that. Thanks again so much for your time and sharing what you've been up to with us. I'm glad we got our technical issues worked out beforehand. Like I said, we had our own remote distributed workflow going on here, and it worked out pretty well. Thanks also to Bird Dog and Harmonic for sponsoring this entire week. Thanks to all of you for attending. The winner of the Amazon gift card for this session is Luke Wu. Congrats, Luke, and look for an email from us early next week. Thanks again, Uri. Thanks again, everybody. We will be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern for day 3 of Streaming Media Connect. So long.
Thank you. Have a good one. See you.
Thanks.